Hello everyone, welcome to MyGigsters, an exclusive podcast for rideshare and delivery drivers in Australia. In today's episode, we have another gigster from our own community, Sal, who's going to share about his experience of working as a rideshare driving in Australia for the last 2 years. Now, watch out, Sal has got some amazing tips and tricks to share with you. Sal, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate for you spending the time to share a bit about you, but also a number of other things. I'm so excited to hear your story. I think instead of wasting time, we'll dive into the topic. Sal, what brought you to rideshare and to this world of gig?
Oh, well, thank you, Benjamin, for welcoming me. And ride sharing, what brought me into it was that I like to spend money. And I'm a bit of a party animal, and I was spending quite a bit of money with all the different social groups that I was involved in. And I'm thinking, well, I can't go on like this. I need to sort of limit my time going out and earn a little bit of money as well, so that, my finances don't get stretched. So I had a bit of a hard and long think about what I could do, where I could be my own boss and work when I want, and so that I had no one to respond to. So after a bit of research, I thought, rideshare driving is probably one of the things that I enjoy, or I would enjoy, because I like to drive. I like to meet new people, and I can handle the pressure of traffic, driving in traffic in Sydney, as you well know how bad traffic is in Sydney. So, and that also stopped me from going out and started saving money. So rather than spend money, I'm earning it, so I can work when I want and be my own boss. I will say that I do have a full-time job. Rideshare is just my side hustle, which I normally do about 3 to 4 hours on a weeknight, and it can be anywhere between 3 to 5 or even 6 days a week that I do it. So that's my reason for getting into rideshare driving.
That's nice. I didn't know that it was a desire to come out of a party animal into. That's good. But how long you been into rideshare?
Yeah, I'm just about to clock up 2 years of rideshare driving, and that's the whole time it's been on a part-time basis, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I must say that my experiences have been quite good. I cannot really say that I've had really, really, really bad experiences. I mean, there's been some uncomfortable rides with some passengers and what have you, but all in all, I cannot say that my safety has been jeopardised in that time. So, yeah, just on 2 years that I've been rideshare driving, and I've recently sort of, like in the last 3-4 months, joined up all the other platforms. I'm on most of the platforms, if I'm allowed to mention them. If not, I'll just say, yeah, I'm on the majority of the platforms.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good. Good. I'm assuming you would have definitely done at least over 100 rides, if not more, over a period of 2 years, and that is definitely has brought you more experience than just money, but also the other experiences that you have. You touched on a very interesting topic that is around safety and customers and general safety of rideshare. Now, why do you think that, or do you think that safety is a priority for rideshare in this whole business of doing rideshare driving? Do you think safety is important? And if you think safety is important, why do you think safety is important?
100%. Look, safety is first and foremost, because no human being should feel unsafe in doing any sort of work that they're doing. I, from experience, have had a fairly good safety record in the respect that, not many passengers have threatened me, or have I had to stop and immediately jump out of the car and let them out. And I've always tried to, unfortunately, as they say, never judge a book by its character. But if you pull up somewhere and you see that, there's a bunch of blokes, not to generalise here, but a bunch of people that are not behaving appropriately, are holding bottles of alcohol and or cups of alcohol. I try and have a look and see what's going on. And, if I feel safe, I will pull up, and when they approach the vehicle, I will say to them, there is no drinking in my car. If you can abide by these things, I'll say you can come in the car and I'll take your ride. Otherwise, if they start to swear and carry on and, be abrupt and, not want to abide by these rules that I have, which is the rules of the rideshare, no drinking or consuming anything in the vehicle, I will immediately say, look, I'm very sorry, but I cannot take you, and I will move on and cancel the ride before it even begins for, unsafe reasons. So that's how I've dealt with the safety issue, because, I'd rather not take the risk, because once they're in your car, it's a lot more difficult to deal with the situation than not picking them up at all. And there is options in your platforms that you're using for rideshare to say unsafe or otherwise as to the reason why you haven't picked up that passenger without affecting your cancellation rate. And even if it does affect your cancellation rate, I think your safety is first and foremost and paramount in the respect of your work and you doing rideshare driving. So that's the safety aspect in my perspective and how I have handled it in my experience with rideshare driving over the last 2 years.
Hey, just want to take a quick second to thanks for the supporters of this podcast. Hey, if you're listening for the first time, we are an exclusive podcast for gig workers in Australia. We share the latest updates on the gig economy. We interview gig workers and industry experts to make gig worker more smarter and safer. Wow, actually, well said. I think this is a very good way to think is, as a rideshare driver, there are two big assets. One, your vehicle, and two, you as a driver.
100%.
And whether the way we have to understand this, I guess, is for many drivers is your vehicle is your workplace. If someone comes into your workplace, just like you want to enter a construction site, you got to follow the safety guidelines of that workplace. You got to wear, you got to be careful, you got to know how to do and what to do. And that's how I see if a passenger enters into my car, it's my workplace and I have to be safe within my workplace because that's where I'm doing my work. And as a result, there are some guidelines that you need to follow, or there are certain don't do, not encouraged activities, and that you can't increase them. You've also highlighted a key thing about, making sure your drivers can be safe. It's about communicating the aspect of, sorry, I can't take you because ABC. You're not allowed to do this, so henceforth I can't take you. It's about having to say that it is unsafe and I'm not ready to do anything, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah. Look, being clear and upfront with the riders is the most important thing. Like probably a couple of months ago, I'll give you a classic example. I was picking up this couple, and it was a male and a female, and the male was intoxicated to the point where he could not even walk straight. He had 2 cans of alcohol in his hand. And as he was approaching the vehicle, I said to him, look, you look very intoxicated. And he was slurring his speech, and he immediately became aggressive by starting to swear at me. And that's an indication to me that things will get worse. He hasn't even approached the vehicle, and he's already intoxicated, belly walking straight and slurring his speech and started swearing at me. And I said, look, I will not take you in that state. I'm very sorry, and I'm going to cancel this ride now. And I immediately canceled the ride and said unsafe and moved on. So, there's many, many telltale signs that you can use for when people are about to get into your vehicle. And I dare say that if he had gotten into the vehicle, things could have escalated.
Yeah.
So you need to be smart and aware of people coming into your workplace. Like you've said, your vehicle is your workplace. And if you believe that that person is intoxicated, and from the telltale signs of them slurring their speech, immediately becoming aggressive and barely able to walk straight, that's a definite look, sorry guys, but I don't think you're in any condition to come into my vehicle. I'm very sorry, I'm going to have to cancel this ride. And you move on and quickly get out of there before you give them any chance to retaliate. Because, sometimes when they're in that intoxicated state, the aggression could escalate very quickly.
Yeah. It's important to, as you mentioned, is to identify these early signs, or be aware of this symptoms or signs of unsafe things, and then being prepared. And also, I think when you mentioned, I definitely felt that you were much more calmer or much more composed in, okay, this is what's the situation, and I will take the best approach, instead of feeling anxious or scared or frightened. And that could be, that could have led into different situations, isn't it?
Of course. Like, you need to be in control of the situation. You need to use your perception and your senses to pick up on the information coming and the body language coming from your riders. And you need to be a quick thinker, and your decisions need to be very precise. And don't beat around the bush. Just, if you see that that person is not in any state to ride with you, and you see things getting worse, by all means, just say to them, look, I don't believe it's a safe thing to do. I'm going to cancel this ride, and just be done with it. Don't think about it too much. And, be a quick thinker on your feet, thinking on your feet. You need to just be very precise with your decisions.
Yeah. That's really good. Thanks for sharing those things, because I think for quickly summarizing that part is, you got to understand that it is your work and it is your workplace, understanding what the safety guidelines are, what can be done, what can't be done, and then being prepared to communicate that to your potential or customer, and also looking out for those hazards, those risks, those signs, and be prepared to also face those in a way of that you have control. So really good. Thanks for sharing that. I wanted to also pick your brain on something else, which is about knowing that it's all about interacting with your customers, right? It's about telling yes or no. It's still, you have to do that conversation. Now that we have spoke about the unsafe side of it, I wanted to ask you, how do you go about treating your customers? Let's say I jump on your car, and what are some of the things that you would do to with your customers that is very special?
Oh, for sure. I can just run through a scenario of when I first pick up a rider. There's 4 questions that I like to ask up front, and which sort of leads on to the whole ride and how to interact with my riders. First and foremost, when you pull up in a safe place to pick up your passengers, you once they jump into the vehicle, you ask them what their name is to confirm. Depending on which platform it is, you might get a PIN code, you might get nothing, and you have to ask them their name just to make sure you pick up the right rider. Second question, I confirm with them the destination. Normally I just say the general suburb they're going in, or the street name if the suburb sometimes doesn't come up. And then I proceed to ask them, how are you? And, depending on the question, on the answer you get, or I know whether or not to continue conversation with them. If I just get a simple, yeah, good, and then I proceed to ask them another question to see if they're in any mood to chat. And my second question is, how has your day been? And if, again, I get a, yeah, good, I think, okay, this person's probably not had the best of days. They probably want a bit of quiet, and they need to just sit there and just sort of do what they want to do without me interfering with them. So depending on the answers you get on those two questions is as to whether or not if the rider would like to continue on with conversation. So normally if they want to continue on with conversation, they will ask your question back, and sort of it leads on from there. So if a passenger wants peace and quiet, I'll give them peace and quiet. If the passenger is happy to continue chatting, I'll continue chatting with them. You know what I mean? So, and just try and be as unbiased and neutral as possible about the things they're talking about. And that's about it. Normally I ask them, have you got any family, or you got any kids? Or I might tell them about my family and my kids and stuff like that. So, it's just working out whether or not a passenger wants to have a chat or not. Also, another thing I will point out, try and drive as smoothly as possible. You don't want your passengers to be sitting there on the edge of their seat, worried about what's coming around the corner when you're driving. And there has been many, many instances where I've picked up passengers and they've said, oh, I had to jump out of that last rideshare driver's car because his driving was just absolutely atrocious. And I said, really? I said, my goodness, that's terrible to hear. I said, look, I will make this ride as smoothly as possible. And they've jumped out of my car, happy as Larry, saying to me, look, you have really made my day. Thank you so much. And a lot of my passengers I've seen fall asleep as I'm driving because they feel so comfortable that they're able to just fall asleep as I'm driving. And that's a very good telltale sign that they are comfortable in your car.
There's someone who came on our podcast earlier. His name is Josh Farr. He called this as the University on Wheels. And you are there talking to a lot of people, and communication is the key. I see every rideshare driver who have been successful and who love what they're doing. This is the same thing that I've heard is treat your customers and give them a great experience, because they're probably going to stay in your car for 15 minutes to a 45-minute drive. But all you can do is make sure they're comfortable, they're well treated, respected, their privacy is being, or they're kept, respected. And at the end of the ride, they feel they are safe and they've been taken to wherever they need to be taken. So I liked really that 4 questions. I'm definitely going to put that on the podcast description for anyone to steal it and use it. In hindsight, does having a great customer experience help you get more rides, help you earn more? Is it true? That was another exciting and great episode. I really thank the guests for participating and sharing the story. Now, for all the listeners, thanks for tuning in again and for supporting us. Please check out our other episodes right from your favorite podcast streaming app, and also connect us on Facebook at MyGigsters, or simply visit us on our website at mygigsters.com.au. This is Benjamin signing off, and until I see you on the next episode, drive safe and take care. Bye.